The hum of the Nashville Convention Center buzzed around me, a familiar backdrop to my routine work trips. I had been here countless times, attending conferences that blurred together in my memory. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the sweet scent of pastries from nearby vendors, creating a comforting yet predictable atmosphere. I navigated through the crowds, exchanging polite smiles and small talk with colleagues, all while feeling an undercurrent of restlessness tugging at me. At 46, I had settled into a life that many would envy, a stable marriage, a comfortable home, and a steady job. Yet beneath the surface lay an unshakable sense of dissatisfaction. My marriage felt like a well-rehearsed performance, lacking the spontaneity and excitement I craved. Conversations with my husband often revolved around logistics, what to have for dinner or when to schedule our next family gathering. The spark that once ignited our relationship had dimmed into a flickering light. As I walked through the bustling hallways filled with attendees networking and exchanging ideas, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing from my life. My mind drifted to thoughts of what could have been, adventures not taken and dreams left unpursued. Just as I was about to lose myself in this familiar spiral of longing, an unexpected encounter jolted me back to reality. I bumped into Mark, an old colleague from another department. We hadn't seen each other in years, but his warm smile and easy laughter felt like a breath of fresh air amidst the monotony of my day. We exchanged pleasantries, reminiscing about shared projects and mutual friends. As we talked, I found myself drawn to his enthusiasm for life. It was infectious. "Are you going to the networking event tonight?" he asked casually. I hadn't planned on it, I replied. "Just another obligation." "Come on," he urged playfully. "You can't miss out on all the fun. Besides, Nashville is known for its music scene. Let loose for once." His words hung in the air between us like an invitation to step outside my comfort zone. For a moment, I hesitated, then something shifted within me. Maybe it was the thrill of spontaneity or perhaps just a longing for connection that pushed me toward a decision I wouldn't have made otherwise. "All right," I said with a hint of excitement creeping into my voice. "I'll go." As we parted ways, anticipation bubbled beneath my skin. The prospect of engaging with new people sparked something dormant inside me, a flicker of hope that maybe this trip could be different after all. Later that evening, as I entered the lively venue filled with laughter and live music echoing against wooden walls adorned with local art, I felt alive in a way I hadn't experienced in years. The atmosphere was electric. Strangers mingled effortlessly over drinks while musicians strummed their guitars in the background. Mark spotted me across the room and waved enthusiastically as he approached with 2 glasses in hand, one filled with whiskey and another with sparkling water. "I thought you might need this," he said with a grin as he handed me the whiskey. I took a sip and savored its warmth as it coursed through me. Conversation flowed easily between us amidst the vibrant chaos surrounding us. We laughed at shared memories and debated everything from music legends to career aspirations as if we were old friends reconnecting after years apart. Then came an unexpected twist. During one particularly animated discussion about our favorite bands, our eyes locked for just long enough for something unspoken to pass between us, a spark igniting in that crowded room full of strangers. "Dance with me," Mark suggested suddenly, his voice low yet inviting. Before I could fully process what was happening or consider any consequences, my heart racing, I found myself nodding in agreement as he led me toward the makeshift dance floor where couples swayed under dim lights pulsing rhythmically to the music. We moved together effortlessly, laughter punctuated our shared moments as if we were dancing not just to the music but also to an uncharted territory filled with possibilities beyond our mundane lives. In those fleeting moments on that dance floor surrounded by strangers who seemed oblivious to everything else but their own joy, I felt alive again. Every worry about my marriage faded into insignificance against this newfound connection sparking between us like fireflies lighting up summer nights. But just as quickly as it began, the moment shifted again when my phone buzzed insistently in my pocket, pulling me back into reality like cold water splashed on my face. It was a message from home, a reminder of responsibilities waiting for me there, dinner plans with family looming ahead like storm clouds threatening rain after such beautiful sunshine today. As Mark pulled away slightly to give space for my distraction, the warmth between us lingered still even though reality reared its head, reminding me how precariously balanced everything felt at this moment. My heart tugged toward something new while tethered firmly back home where comfort coexisted uneasily alongside discontentment. The pull of something new lingered heavily on my mind long after we parted ways that night, an emotional connection forged amidst laughter and music, leaving behind echoes resonating deep within me while questioning everything else about who I really wanted to be moving forward. The conference buzzed with excitement as I navigated through the throngs of attendees. My mind, still reeling from that kiss, struggled to focus on the presentations and discussions meant to enhance my career. Instead, thoughts of Mark flickered like a neon sign in the back of my mind. Each time I caught a glimpse of him across the room, my heart raced with a mix of exhilaration and guilt. I had always prided myself on being a dedicated professional. Yet here I was, contemplating how to engage with this captivating stranger while grappling with the reality of my marriage back home. The weight of my responsibilities pressed down on me like a heavy cloak, but the thrill of new possibilities danced just out of reach. At lunchtime, I found myself wandering toward an outdoor patio where a local food truck was parked, serving up Nashville's famous hot chicken sandwiches. The aroma wafted through the air, drawing me in. I ordered a sandwich and settled at a table under an umbrella. As I took my first bite, I noticed Mark approaching, his easy smile igniting something deep within me. "Mind if I join you?" he asked. "Not at all," I replied, gesturing to the empty seat across from me. We fell into conversation easily, discussing everything from work projects to favorite music festivals in Nashville. The way he listened intently made me feel seen in a way that had been missing for years. It was as if we were cocooned in our own little world amidst the chaos surrounding us. "You know," he said after a moment's pause, "I've been thinking about what you said last night, about needing more excitement in life." I nodded slowly. "It's hard to explain, but there's this part of me that craves something different." He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "What if we let ourselves explore that for just this weekend? No strings attached." The suggestion sent shivers down my spine, both thrilling and terrifying. "What do you mean?" "Just let go for a bit," he replied softly, his gaze locking onto mine with an intensity that made it difficult to breathe. "We're here now, why not enjoy it?" The idea hung between us like a promise waiting to be fulfilled. My heart raced at the thought of stepping outside my comfort zone even further than I already had by engaging with him at all. But could I really allow myself to cross that line? As we finished our lunch and strolled back toward the conference center, our shoulders brushed against each other frequently, a spark igniting each time contact was made. The tension built slowly but steadily until it felt palpable in the air around us. Later that evening, during one of the networking events held at a nearby bar famous for its live music scene, everything shifted again. The atmosphere pulsed with energy as musicians performed on stage while attendees mingled over cocktails and laughter filled every corner. Mark found me almost immediately upon entering the venue. He seemed drawn to me as much as I was drawn to him. We navigated through clusters of people until we reached an open space near the bar where we could talk without shouting over music. "I love this city," he said enthusiastically as he gestured toward the band playing nearby, a local bluegrass group whose melodies wrapped around us like an embrace. "It's vibrant," I agreed, glancing around at couples dancing and groups laughing together. "You know," Mark continued thoughtfully, "sometimes you just have to take risks." His words resonated deeply within me. They echoed everything I had been feeling since arriving here, this pull towards something new and exhilarating despite its inherent dangers. As if reading my thoughts, he He leaned closer again until our faces were mere inches apart. What would it take for you to let yourself go? Before I could respond or even process what was happening next, the warmth from his body radiating against mine, I felt his lips brush against mine softly at first, then deepening into something more intense and consuming than either of us had anticipated. We kissed. Time seemed to freeze around us while everything else faded away. The noise from the bar dimmed into nothingness as we lost ourselves in this unexpected moment together, filled with passion and longing for connection beyond mere physical attraction. When we finally pulled apart, breathless yet exhilarated by what had just transpired between us, a mix of fear and excitement coursing through my veins, I knew there was no turning back now. Whatever boundaries existed before had blurred into oblivion beneath shared desires ignited by spontaneity. What just happened? I whispered incredulously, still reeling from what felt like both liberation and betrayal all at once. A rush so intoxicating yet laden with consequences lurking just beneath its surface, threatening everything familiar about life back home, waiting patiently beyond this weekend escape into uncharted territory. Something beautiful, Mark replied simply yet earnestly, meeting my gaze without hesitation. His expression reflecting both understanding and desire, illuminating possibilities ahead even though shadows loomed ominously behind us, reminding me how precariously balanced everything felt, still hanging delicately upon choices yet unmade amidst swirling emotions tugging insistently at heartstrings, yearning for more than fleeting moments shared only under neon lights fading away too soon. As we rejoined others around us, mingling again amid laughter echoing throughout, the thrill still lingering between us, questions began swirling inside my mind like autumn leaves caught up in wind gusts. What would tomorrow bring? Would this connection survive beyond these fleeting hours spent together? Or would reality come crashing down harder than ever before, leaving nothing but remnants scattered across memories forged under Nashville skies? With each passing minute spent alongside him, the chemistry undeniable, I felt increasingly torn between two worlds. One rooted firmly in responsibility while another beckoned enticingly toward freedom, promising adventure waiting just beyond reach, ready to sweep me off feet if only willing enough dare take leap into unknown. The night wore on, filled with laughter mingling alongside uncertainty looming heavily overhead, casting shadows longer than any light could dispel, reminding me how fragile happiness could be when built upon fragile foundations formed amidst chaos, threatening stability, already fraying apart ever so slightly under pressure, begging questions unanswered, lingering just out of grasp, teasingly close yet painfully far away. And so began unraveling threads woven tightly together, binding past choices made long ago, now beginning fray ever so slightly, revealing glimpses, hidden truths buried deep down, waiting patiently emerge once more, demanding attention before too late. The city hummed with a rhythm that matched the beat of my heart, an intoxicating blend of excitement and dread. The conference was winding down, yet the energy in Nashville felt alive, pulsing through the streets like a melody I had long forgotten. I stood at the edge of the crowd, watching people mingle, their laughter a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling inside me. The stranger from the night before lingered in my thoughts, his presence like a warm glow against the chill of uncertainty. I turned my back to the crowd for a moment, seeking solace in the quiet. The weight of my choices pressed heavily on my shoulders. Guilt gnawed at me. I was still tethered to my life back home, yet here in Nashville, everything felt different. I had tasted something new, something vibrant and thrilling, and now I craved more. Hey, his voice broke through my reverie. I turned to find him standing just a few feet away, his smile disarming and familiar all at once. I thought I might run into you. Just taking a breather, I replied, trying to sound casual despite the flutter of nerves in my stomach. He stepped closer, and for a moment, it felt as if we were the only two people in this bustling city. "How's your head after last night?" he asked with a playful glint in his eyes. "Still spinning," I admitted, recalling how our lips met under that dim light. It felt both exhilarating and terrifying to acknowledge what had happened between us. He chuckled softly. Good to know it wasn't just me. There was an ease between us that made it hard to resist leaning into this connection. As we walked together towards Centennial Park, he shared snippets of his life, his work as an artist, and how he'd come to Nashville chasing dreams that often felt just out of reach. Each word drew me closer to him, weaving our lives together in unexpected ways. "I didn't expect to meet someone like you here," he said suddenly, turning serious for a moment. "You seem different." I raised an eyebrow. "Different how?" "Like you're searching for something." He paused, gauging my reaction before continuing. "Or maybe running away." His insight pierced through me. It was unsettling yet oddly comforting that someone could see past the surface so quickly. "Maybe both," I confessed softly. The park was alive with families enjoying picnics and couples strolling hand in hand beneath the shade of sprawling trees. We found a bench tucked away from the crowd where we could talk without distractions. "I've been thinking about you since last night," he admitted after a moment's silence. "There's something about you that feels familiar." A flicker of surprise ignited within me as I considered his words. Familiarity? That word echoed with unspoken promises and hidden truths waiting to unfold. "Do you believe in fate?" he asked suddenly. I hesitated before answering. It was such an abstract concept yet somehow fitting for our situation. "Sometimes," I replied carefully. "But there are always consequences." He leaned closer, his expression earnest as if searching for something deeper within me, the truth behind my guarded exterior. "What do you want?" His question hung heavy between us. "I want," my voice faltered as thoughts collided, a rush of longing intertwined with fear of losing everything I had built over years of effort and sacrifice. Before I could finish my thought, he reached out and took my hand gently, a gesture both simple and profound that sent shivers up my spine. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and music wafting from nearby food stalls, clarity washed over me like sunlight breaking through clouds. This connection mattered more than anything else right now. "We should make the most of this time," he suggested softly, his thumb brushing across my knuckles soothingly. I nodded slowly. There was no denying what we shared was special, even if fleeting, and perhaps worth exploring further despite looming consequences back home. As we delved deeper into conversation about our lives, the mundane details interwoven with dreams, we discovered shared experiences that surprised us both. Childhood memories spent chasing fireflies on summer nights or late-night drives filled with music that resonated deep within our souls. Time seemed irrelevant as laughter flowed freely between us until reality intruded once more, a reminder that our time together was limited by obligations waiting patiently at home like shadows creeping ever closer with each passing hour. Eventually silence fell upon us again. It wasn't uncomfortable but rather charged with unspoken possibilities lingering just beyond reach, an electric current binding us together even tighter than before despite knowing what lay ahead would inevitably pull us apart once more soon enough. "Can we meet again tonight?" His request hung in the air laden with hope mixed alongside uncertainty, an invitation wrapped tightly around desire tempered by fear. "I want to," I breathed out slowly while wrestling internally against guilt threatening to drown out every ounce of joy bubbling up inside me at this prospect. A chance for one more evening filled with connection before returning back home where expectations awaited like heavy chains ready to bind me once more. The prospect excited yet terrified me simultaneously. What would happen if we crossed those lines again? Would it change everything? He must have sensed my hesitation because he squeezed my hand gently while looking deeply into my eyes searching for reassurance, or perhaps seeking permission to take another step forward together into unknown territory filled only with possibilities painted bright against darker realities lurking just beneath surface. "Yes," I finally said resolutely despite every fiber urging caution instead. There was no turning back now, only moments left fleetingly slipping away like sand through fingers grasping desperately onto something precious yet so fragile all at once. As we parted ways beneath fading sunlight casting long shadows across pavement leading back toward hotel buzzing alive once more around conference attendees mingling casually over drinks discussing business deals made or broken. My heart raced wildly within chest, threatening break free from constraints, holding tightly onto past life, clinging fiercely still even amidst newfound freedom blossoming unexpectedly right before eyes, waiting patiently ready embrace whatever came next, whether good or bad. Yet deep down somewhere, buried beneath layers built over years spent conforming, quietly accepting fate dictated by others, I couldn't shake feeling this connection held potential far greater than mere escape from reality. It could ignite change within myself too. But time would tell whether courage would prevail against fear's whispering doubts urging retreat instead into safe confines known too well, leaving behind chance encounter fading slowly into memory never fully realized. And so began countdown, ticking steadily onward, reminding me each second passing pulled closer toward inevitable parting, leaving lingering questions unanswered hovering above head, threatening crash down upon shoulders already burdened enough without added weight, pressing down harder, urging caution instead. The morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow in the room. I blinked awake, disoriented for a moment as the events of the previous night flooded back. The warmth beside me was a reminder of the connection I had briefly surrendered to. We spent the night together, and now reality loomed like a shadow at the edge of my consciousness. As I turned to look at him, my heart raced with a mix of exhilaration and dread. His face was peaceful in sleep, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside me. I traced my fingers over his arm, marveling at how something so simple could feel so profound. Yet, beneath that warmth lay an undercurrent of fear, a fear of what this all meant. "Morning," he murmured, stirring awake and flashing a sleepy smile that made my heart flutter. "Good morning," I replied softly, trying to mask the storm within. We shared breakfast in silence, each bite accompanied by unspoken thoughts swirling around us. The bustling city outside seemed oblivious to our quiet moment, filled with music and laughter from nearby cafes and street performers preparing for their day. Nashville was alive with energy, a stark contrast to the confusion settling in my mind. "What's on your mind?" he asked suddenly, breaking through my reverie. I hesitated before answering. "Just thinking about everything." My voice trailed off as I met his gaze. He leaned closer, his expression earnest. "You don't have to worry about anything here. Just be present with me." His words were soothing yet terrifying. How could I fully embrace this when my life back home felt like an anchor pulling me down? "I can't help but think about what happens next," I admitted. "Let's take it one step at a time," he suggested gently. "We have this moment." But moments were fleeting, they slipped away like sand through fingers. I wanted to cling to this one but feared what it would cost me in return. After breakfast, we wandered through Centennial Park, enjoying the vibrant atmosphere around us. Families strolled with children, couples laughed under sprawling trees while musicians played nearby. It was idyllic, a perfect day that felt almost surreal against the backdrop of my internal conflict. "Do you come here often?" I asked him as we walked along a path lined with blooming flowers. "Not really," he replied thoughtfully. "But today feels special." He paused and looked at me intently. "What about you? Do you find moments like these?" "I used to," I confessed quietly. "But life has become predictable." He nodded as if understanding more than words could convey. It was refreshing to share such honesty without judgment. It felt liberating yet frightening all at once. As we continued walking, he shared stories from his past, his struggles as a single parent balancing work and family life, and I found myself opening up about mine too. My marriage's slow fade into routine and dissatisfaction that had crept in unnoticed until it felt suffocating. "I didn't expect this trip would change anything," I said softly as we sat on a bench overlooking a small pond where ducks paddled lazily by. "Sometimes change finds us when we least expect it," he replied thoughtfully, his eyes reflecting understanding and empathy. His words resonated deeply within me. They echoed truths I had buried for too long beneath layers of obligation and responsibility. Suddenly, my phone buzzed in my pocket, an unwelcome reminder of home intruding into our sanctuary of connection. Glancing at the screen revealed an incoming call from my husband, a name that felt heavy against my heart. My voice faltered as anxiety gripped me tight. "Take your time," he said gently but firmly enough to ground me amidst rising panic. I stepped away from him for privacy, answering reluctantly while trying to mask any emotional turbulence behind casual tones. "Hey, yes, everything's fine." The conversation felt like an anchor dragging me back into waters murky with obligation and expectations, questions about dinner plans, reminders of household chores waiting for attention, all trivial yet overwhelming against the backdrop of newfound clarity swirling around me here in Nashville. As soon as we hung up, guilt washed over me like ice water plunging into warm skin, sharp yet invigoratingly alive amidst confusion pressing down heavier than before. When I returned to him, his expression mirrored concern mixed with understanding. There was no judgment here, just acceptance wrapped in warmth that made everything feel both right and wrong simultaneously. "What did he say?" he asked quietly but directly enough for me not to evade answering truthfully. "Just checking in," I replied carefully while avoiding eye contact. Shame crept into every syllable spoken aloud between us, now tinged with uncertainty regarding future paths ahead diverging rapidly before our eyes without clear signs pointing toward either direction promising safety or fulfillment anymore. The weight of choices loomed larger than ever. The thrill of this connection danced tantalizingly close yet threatened by realities waiting patiently back home demanding attention just beyond reach. As we walked back toward our hotel hand in hand, time slipping away faster than anticipated, I couldn't shake off feelings swirling violently within. Exhilaration mingling dangerously alongside dread, threatening collapse under pressure building steadily inside, yearning for clarity amidst chaos surrounding every decision looming ahead. In those fleeting moments spent together, the laughter shared over stories exchanged, the bond deepened despite impending parting drawing nearer, each second ticking away relentlessly reminding me choices must be made soon. We reached our hotel room door where all too soon reality would crash upon us once again. I could sense it even before stepping inside, feeling heavy anticipation settle around us both like fog thickening air just before storm breaks loose overhead, bringing forth chaos inevitable. I turned toward him just before entering, heart racing wildly as emotions surged, threatening to spill over unbidden if not contained carefully behind walls erected long ago, shielding vulnerability hidden beneath surface, years spent maintaining appearances rather than embracing truth buried deep within, yearning desperately for freedom found only when connected openly without fear, holding tightly onto chains forged by past choices made long ago. "What do you want?" His question hung between us, charged with significance far beyond mere words spoken aloud. It demanded answers only found within depths unseen, flickering dimly beneath layers built over time, protecting fragile desires left untapped until now, yearning desperately for release. My voice faltered again, caught off guard by sudden intensity radiating from his gaze, urging honesty stripped bare, revealing raw truths hidden underneath all these years spent living safely behind masks donned daily, shielding true selves afraid, exposing fragility lurking beneath polished exteriors worn proudly outside, world demanding perfection instead accepting flaws inherent within humanity itself, longing simply be seen fully embraced wholly without reservations holding back anymore. The moment stretched taut between us, brimming with possibilities yet laden heavily still by fears lingering just beneath surface, awaiting opportunity strike unexpectedly, leaving scars etched deeply upon souls forever changed, irrevocably altering paths chosen once upon time, leading back toward comfort zones known well enough, perhaps too well, risking everything simply grasp hold fleeting chance offered, now standing right here before each other, daring leap faith, believing something beautiful might emerge from ashes left behind, if only willing embrace unknown, stepping boldly forward, leaving past behind, finally free. But then came realization crashing down hard, reminding me consequences linger, always waiting, patiently lurking just beyond horizon, beckoning softly, whispering warnings, cautioning against reckless abandon, tempting fate, inviting chaos disrupt lives forever. altering course taken previously laid out neatly before eyes wide open staring intently forward wondering still whether choice made ultimately lead happiness sought after or merely another illusion fading fast into memory lost forever among shadows cast long ago. The phone rang, a jarring intrusion into the fragile bubble we had created. I glanced at the screen, my heart racing as I recognized my husband's name. The weight of the moment pressed down on me, each ring echoing a reminder of the life I had left behind, even if just for a few days. "Should you answer?" the stranger asked, his brow furrowing with concern. He sat across from me at the small table in the cozy cafe where we had met for breakfast. The rich aroma of coffee filled the air, mingling with the scent of freshly baked pastries. "I have to," I replied, my voice steadier than I felt. "It might be important." I picked up the phone, forcing a smile onto my face as I answered. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "Where are you?" My husband's voice was thick with worry. "I've been trying to reach you." "I'm at a conference," I said, glancing at the stranger who was now watching me intently. "Just busy with work stuff." "Busy? You've been gone for days," he pressed. "I miss you." A pang of guilt shot through me as I looked into the stranger's eyes. They were filled with understanding and something else, an unspoken connection that had grown between us over these past few days. "I miss you too," I said softly, wishing it were true in every sense. "Can we talk when you get back?" he asked. "Of course." The words slipped out easily, but they felt heavy with implications. As I hung up, silence enveloped us again. The stranger leaned back in his chair, his expression pensive. "You know this changes things," he said quietly. "I know." My heart raced as I considered what that meant for us, or rather, for me. He reached across the table and took my hand in his. "I want more than just this moment," he confessed. "But it feels complicated." Complicated was an understatement. He had shared snippets of his life over our time together, his job in Nashville and how he was navigating parenthood alone after a recent separation from his partner. The thought of him being a father added layers to our connection that both intrigued and terrified me. "I have a family too," I reminded him gently, pulling my hand away reluctantly as reality crept back in. "Yes, but," his voice trailed off as if he were searching for words that could bridge our worlds. "But what?" "It's different when you're not happy where you are." His gaze pierced through me like an arrow finding its mark. I wanted to argue but couldn't find the words. Deep down, I knew he was right about my marriage being stagnant and unfulfilling. Yet there was so much at stake, my family, my responsibilities, and walking away from it all felt like standing on the edge of a precipice without knowing what lay below. "What do we do now?" I asked finally, feeling lost amidst swirling emotions. "We take it one step at a time," he suggested softly but firmly. "Let's not rush into anything without thinking it through." His calm demeanor soothed me somewhat. Still, uncertainty loomed large over our conversation like dark clouds threatening rain. Just then, laughter erupted from a nearby table where colleagues from another conference were enjoying their morning together, a stark contrast to our serious discussion. "We could go to that festival tonight," he proposed suddenly, breaking through my thoughts about what lay ahead for us both. "The music festival?" My interest piqued despite myself. Nashville was known for its vibrant music scene and lively atmosphere during these events. "Yes. It'll be fun, an escape from everything else." He smiled warmly now. It lit up his face and made my heart flutter against all reason. It was tempting, a chance to revel in music and forget about responsibilities even if just for one night, but how could I indulge when so much hung in the balance? "I don't know." The hesitation lingered on my lips as memories of my husband's voice echoed back in my mind, a reminder of home waiting patiently for me to return. "Just think about it." He leaned closer again, This time there was urgency behind his words, as if sensing how close we were to something significant yet uncertain all at once. As we finished breakfast and stepped outside into Nashville's bustling streets bathed in sunlight filtering through trees lining sidewalks adorned with colorful banners announcing upcoming performances nearby, I couldn't shake off feelings swirling within me threatening to spill over any moment now. What if tonight changed everything? What if attending this festival opened doors I never knew existed? And yet, what would happen when reality came crashing back down again? Would it be worth risking everything built on years of familiarity only to chase after fleeting moments filled with passion? The decision weighed heavily on me. Each step felt like moving through molasses as doubt crept into every corner of my mind until finally, after what seemed like forever, I turned toward him once more, determinedly meeting those searching eyes head-on. "I'll go." His face lit up instantly, relief mixed with excitement flooding through him. But even then deep inside lingered apprehension about what awaited us both beyond those festival gates. And just like that, the clock began ticking down toward choices made while standing precariously between two worlds no longer aligned perfectly together, but perhaps, just perhaps, there might still be hope lingering somewhere amidst chaos, waiting patiently, readying itself, boldly awaiting discovery anew. As the festival buzzed around us, I could hardly focus on the music. The vibrant sounds of Nashville filled the air, but my mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. I stood next to him, feeling the warmth radiating from his body, yet an icy grip of reality tightened around my heart. The decision loomed over me like a heavy cloud, darkening the joy of the moment. "Do you want to get a drink?" he asked, his voice cutting through the noise. I nodded, though my stomach twisted with uncertainty. We made our way to a nearby bar, where the atmosphere pulsed with energy and laughter. The scent of whiskey and fried food mingled together, creating an intoxicating backdrop that felt both exhilarating and suffocating. As we settled into our seats, I glanced around at couples laughing and dancing. A pang of longing struck me. It was a life I had once known but now felt so distant. "What's your favorite song?" he asked, leaning closer as if sharing a secret. "Anything by Johnny Cash," I replied with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. "Classic choice," he said, his gaze lingering on me for a moment longer than necessary. I grew up listening to him. The conversation flowed easily between us, yet beneath the surface lay an undercurrent of tension. With every shared laugh and knowing glance, I felt myself being pulled deeper into this connection, a connection that threatened everything I had built back home. Yet there was something more about him than just charm. It was in the way he spoke about his child with such tenderness that made my heart ache. "Being a single parent is tough," he admitted quietly after another round of drinks. "But it's worth it." His words hung in the air like an uninvited guest, reminding me of my own responsibilities waiting for me back home. "What about you? Do you have kids?" he asked suddenly. "No," I said softly. "I have one at home." His expression shifted slightly, curiosity mixed with understanding, as if he could sense my hesitation. "It must be hard to balance everything." "It is," I replied honestly, feeling exposed under his gaze. The festival lights twinkled above us like stars trapped in a glass dome while music swelled around us, a bittersweet symphony echoing my internal struggle. The weight of my choices pressed heavily on my chest as laughter and joy surrounded us. Suddenly, fireworks erupted overhead, brilliant bursts of color illuminating the night sky. For a fleeting moment, everything else faded away. It was just him and me beneath the exploding lights, caught in this beautiful chaos together. "Look at that," he exclaimed with childlike wonder as we both turned our heads skyward. "It's stunning," I murmured absently, lost in thought again as each explosion reminded me how fleeting joy could be. "Hey," he said gently, drawing my attention back to him. "What are you thinking?" I hesitated before answering. Vulnerability felt like standing on the edge of a cliff without knowing how far down it went. "About how quickly things can change," I finally admitted. His expression softened further as if he understood more than words could convey. Sometimes change is exactly what we need. The truth hung between us like an unspoken promise, an invitation to leap into something unknown. But each heartbeat echoed doubt within me. Was this truly what I wanted? Or was it merely an escape from the mundane? As we stepped outside for some fresh air amidst the festival's chaos, a cool breeze brushed against my skin, a stark contrast to the warmth radiating from him beside me. "I'm glad we met here," he said quietly as we leaned against a wooden railing overlooking the crowd below. "Me too," I replied softly, but couldn't shake off that nagging feeling at the back of my mind urging caution. The life I had built still lingered behind me like shadows in fading light. In that moment of clarity amidst confusion came another realization. This wasn't just about desire or infatuation, it was about two people searching for something more profound than themselves, something real amid all this noise. Yet reality soon crashed down upon us when his phone buzzed violently in his pocket, a jarring reminder of responsibilities waiting beyond this magical night. He sighed heavily before pulling it out and glancing at the screen, his expression shifting from lightheartedness to concern almost instantly as he read whatever message awaited him there. "What is it?" My voice trembled slightly despite myself, dread pooled in my stomach at seeing his demeanor change so abruptly. "My child. They're not feeling well." He looked up at me with worry etched across his features, suddenly burdened by responsibilities once again. Oh no, my heart sank further into uncertainty as fear crept into our moment, the weight of reality crashing down upon our ephemeral bliss like waves eroding sandcastles built too close to shore. "I need to go check on them." His voice held urgency now mixed with regret. Time seemed to slip through our fingers like grains of sand no matter how tightly we grasped them. "I understand." My reply came out softer than intended, each word laced with disappointment mingled with understanding, a bittersweet farewell hanging between us amid flashing lights and fading music echoing all around us, still full force yet somehow distant now too. As we walked away from that festival together toward uncertain futures apart, the echoes of laughter dimming behind us, I felt torn between two worlds. One filled with familiar comforts yet stifling constraints, while another shimmered ahead promising freedom yet fraught with unknowns awaiting discovery anew. The festival lights began dimming behind us just as hope flickered uncertainly within. I had moments left before choosing between them both. And then before either of us could say anything further or contemplate next steps, we reached that inevitable crossroads where paths diverged once more. The festival lights began dimming behind us just as hope flickered uncertainly within. I had moments left before choosing between them both. As we walked through the fading glow of the Nashville Festival, the sounds of laughter and music faded into a distant echo. I felt the weight of my decision pressing down on me like a heavy stone. Each step felt like a countdown, urging me to confront what lay ahead. The vibrant atmosphere that had once ignited my spirit now felt like a bittersweet reminder of everything I stood to lose. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice cutting through my thoughts. I glanced at him, searching for answers in his eyes. "I'm just thinking." "About us?" His question hung in the air, charged with possibility. I hesitated, taking in the moment, the way his brow furrowed with concern and how earnest he looked standing there amidst the chaos. "About everything," I finally replied. He nodded slowly, understanding my turmoil without needing further explanation. "You have to do what feels right for you." But what did that even mean? My heart was torn between two worlds, one filled with familiarity and obligation, and another pulsing with excitement and uncertainty. The thought of leaving my child behind was unbearable, yet staying felt like suffocating in a life that had become stagnant. As if sensing my conflict, he stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I know it's not easy. I have my own struggles." He paused, collecting his thoughts as if they were fragile glass. "Being a single parent isn't simple either." His admission struck me harder than expected. It reminded me that we were both navigating uncharted waters, caught between our pasts and an uncertain future. What do you mean? He took a deep breath before continuing. I have a daughter who needs me too. Every choice I make affects her. The revelation resonated deeply within me. It was a reflection of my own fears and desires laid bare before us both. We were more alike than I had initially thought, two people grappling with responsibilities while craving something more. I never wanted to hurt anyone, I said softly. Neither did I, he replied earnestly, his gaze steady on mine. A silence enveloped us as we both pondered our circumstances, the weight of our choices pressing down like an anchor threatening to drag us under. Just then, the sounds of the festival swelled around us again, laughter erupting from nearby groups celebrating life's little moments. But those moments felt far removed from my reality. They were reminders of what I had at home, my child's laughter filling our living room, their innocent questions about life swirling around our kitchen table during dinner. How could I risk shattering that world? I need to go back, I finally said, feeling as though each word was laced with regret. He nodded slowly as if he'd anticipated this moment but hoped against hope it wouldn't arrive. I understand. We stood there for what felt like an eternity, two souls caught in an emotional whirlwind with no clear way out. The festival lights flickered above us like stars fading into dawn. It was time to face reality once more. I'll always cherish this week, he said quietly. And so will I responded, feeling tears prick at the corners of my eyes despite my efforts to remain composed. With one last lingering glance at him, a mix of longing and sorrow, I turned away from the festival grounds and headed toward the path leading back to my hotel. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if gravity itself conspired against me in this moment of choice. Back at my hotel room, I found myself staring blankly at the walls adorned with local art, a stark contrast to the turmoil churning inside me. My phone buzzed on the bedside table. It was a message from my husband checking in about our child's day, a reminder that life continued outside this whirlwind bubble I'd stepped into so briefly. As I typed out a response filled with mundane details about dinner plans and bedtime stories, guilt washed over me again like an unwelcome tide threatening to drown out every fleeting moment of happiness I'd experienced here in Nashville. Just then, another message popped up on my screen. It was from him. I'll be here if you need to talk. My heart raced at his words. They were both comforting and painful all at once, a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters where emotions ran high and clarity seemed elusive. After sending off a quick reply thanking him for understanding, I set down my phone determined not to dwell on what could have been but instead focus on reconciling what must be done next, returning home and confronting whatever awaited me there with newfound courage or perhaps resignation. That night passed slowly as sleep eluded me entirely. Thoughts raced through my mind like errant fireflies flitting about chaotically, memories of laughter shared over drinks at local bars mixed with visions of quiet evenings spent reading bedtime stories back home. The duality tugging fiercely at my heartstrings until dawn broke through heavy curtains casting light onto stark realities awaiting outside those walls. The next morning arrived too quickly. Packing up felt surreal, as if each item folded neatly into my suitcase represented pieces of two lives colliding into one another, an amalgamation that would never fully exist but linger just beneath the surface forevermore. As I checked out from the hotel lobby filled with bustling energy reminiscent of yesterday's festivities now faded away, I caught sight of him across the street waiting for someone or something, perhaps closure or simply acknowledgement that we shared something special even if only for a fleeting moment in time. My breath caught in my throat as memories flooded back, the laughter echoing amidst music notes drifting through warm southern air, and suddenly everything came crashing down upon me again. The realization that this connection would always remain part of who I was now regardless of distance or circumstance separating us forevermore. And just when it seemed clarity would emerge from chaos, a familiar face appeared beside him. A woman holding hands with their daughter who bounded toward him, joyfully unaware yet blissfully ignorant about complicated adult matters unfolding right before her innocent gaze. In that instant, everything shifted once more, a kaleidoscope spinning wildly, revealing unforeseen consequences tangled within choices made under festival lights, illuminating paths diverging endlessly ahead. Standing there frozen between two worlds, my heart racing faster than ever, I faced an unexpected truth. Every decision rippled outward, affecting not just myself but everyone caught within its orbit, and suddenly standing still became impossible. The music faded into the background as I stood at the crossroads of my life, the vibrant sounds of Nashville swirling around me. The festival lights twinkled like stars against the deepening twilight, and for a moment, I was lost in the chaos of emotions that surged through me. My heart pounded, not just from the thrill of my recent choices but from the weight of what lay ahead. I had made my decision, to embrace this new path with all its uncertainties. Yet, standing there, I felt a tug of doubt. What would it mean to leave everything behind? My husband, my child, my home, each represented years of memories and commitments. But then there was him, the stranger who had become so much more in such a short time. His laughter echoed in my mind, his warmth still lingering on my skin. Emma. A familiar voice broke through my thoughts. It was Sarah, a colleague from the conference. She approached with an energy that seemed to contrast sharply with my turmoil. Are you ready for the closing event? They say it's going to be amazing. I nodded absently, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. Yeah, just thinking. About what? She asked, her curiosity genuine. Just life changes, I replied vaguely. Sarah studied me for a moment before her expression softened. You know you can talk to me about anything. I appreciated her concern but felt an urge to shield myself from further probing. Thanks, but I think I need to figure this out on my own. She nodded understandingly and turned her attention back to the festival atmosphere bustling around us. As she walked away, I couldn't shake off the feeling that this moment was pivotal, not just for me but for everyone involved. The night deepened as we made our way toward the main stage where a local band was preparing to perform. The crowd buzzed with excitement. People danced and laughed under strings of lights illuminating their faces with joy. Yet here I stood, torn between two worlds. As I took a deep breath filled with music and laughter, a familiar figure emerged from the crowd, him. My heart raced again as he approached me with that same magnetic smile that had drawn me in days before. Emma, he said softly, his voice barely audible over the music but resonating deeply within me. Hey, I managed to reply, trying to mask the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside. I'm glad I found you, he continued, his eyes searching mine for something unspoken yet palpable between us. I've been thinking. The words hung heavy in the air between us, a mixture of hope and fear wrapped tightly together. About what? He leaned closer as if inviting me into his world once more. About everything. My voice trembled slightly despite my efforts to remain steady. About us. His expression shifted subtly, anticipation flickered in his gaze as he waited for me to continue. I want this, whatever this is, I finally confessed, feeling both relief and anxiety wash over me like waves crashing against rocks. A smile broke across his face, a mixture of joy and disbelief, and he reached out to take my hand gently in his own. I want it too. But before we could delve deeper into our shared desires, an unexpected commotion erupted nearby. A group of festival-goers stumbled into our space, loud and boisterous, drawing attention away from our intimate moment. We should get closer, one shouted enthusiastically as they pulled others along toward the stage. I hesitated for just a heartbeat before glancing back at him. Uncertainty clouded his eyes now too as reality seeped back into our bubble of connection. Let's go, he suggested after a pause, a hint of urgency underlying his tone as we joined the throng moving toward the front row where vibrant lights danced above us like fireflies against an indigo sky. As we squeezed through excited fans, laughter erupted around us again. It felt intoxicating yet distant somehow, everything blurred except for him beside me. The music began, a lively melody that resonated through every fiber of my being, but even amidst all this joy, shadows loomed larger than life, responsibilities waiting at home, expectations tethered by years spent building a life together, doubts gnawing at every choice made since arriving here. A sudden realization struck like lightning: how could I walk away? How could I abandon all those memories without consequence? The band played on while we swayed together in rhythm. I could feel him beside me, a solid presence grounding me amidst swirling thoughts. But then came another wave crashing over. What about my child? Would they understand if everything changed so drastically? Suddenly overwhelmed by conflicting emotions threatening to drown out everything else, I pulled away slightly from him, his brow furrowed with concern as he searched for answers in my shifting gaze. "Emma," he asked softly, worry etched across his features now mirrored mine moments ago when faced with uncertainty about our future together, or apart. "I need time." The words escaped before fully forming in my mind, a plea mingled with desperation, and yet they felt inadequate against what lay ahead waiting patiently just beyond reach. He nodded slowly but didn't release his grip on my hand, a silent promise lingering between us even amidst confusion swirling wildly around. Then it happened. An unexpected offer appeared from nowhere, the kind that could shift everything once more. A representative approached us amid jubilant cheers echoing around, their proposal promising opportunities beyond imagination, alluring yet daunting at once. "Would you consider joining our team? We're looking for someone with your expertise," they said, directly addressing both of us now caught off guard by such an unexpected twist thrusting itself upon our evening plans. Caught between desire and responsibility, the weight pressing down heavier than ever, I glanced back at him searching desperately for clarity amidst chaos unfolding around us. But standing there frozen again caught between two worlds, I knew one thing: whatever path lay ahead would demand sacrifices unimaginable, and consequences awaited just around every corner.